I gotta find it on my tablet now.
Wait for a few people to get in here. Currently at 0. Two. All right, everybody. I got with me Thomas Myrtle, Jamie, and Big Jeff, and hopefully Andrew White will be joining us sometime soon. Just wanted to get together, talk about whatever, but I wanted to start first. Figure going out, go over the search warrants that we have, all of them. Just point out things that really don't make no sense. All right, we got Jerome L. Fox. He's the one signing this. Filing date is 11/5/2005. We got search warrants for all the Averys and a few of the Dassies. Notice Brendan's not on there, or Blaine. Search warrant issued to Avery Road, Town of Gibson, County of Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Single family trailer, red in color, white trim around the windows. Trailer has attached wooden deck and has a number 12932 on the front of the residence next to the front entrance. There's a detached garage. Next to the residence is a red and blue in color with a single white garage door and a white service door, occupied by Stephen Allen Avery Sr., date of birth 7/9/1962. And 12932A, Avery Road in the town of Gibson, County of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, a single family trailer with gray and white vinyl siding, maroon shutters, numbers 12930A, located on the front of the residence. 12930A, Avery Road, has a detached garage with gray siding, two white garage doors, and white trim around the windows and doors, occupied by Barb Yanda. Affidavit of Investigator Mark Wiegert, Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Then we have the search warrant issued for 11/6. Trailer with detached two-sail garage located east side near the northeast corner of the Avery Auto Salvage. Single story located northeast corner of the Avery Auto Salvage property with green siding, metal shed, and tin roof. So I'm assuming that would be Dolores's. Search warrant issued, record state storage, singular, communications, common carriers. This is for Teresa Hallbach's phone records. So obviously the records that they obtained on the 3rd were whatever Ryan Hughes gave to her. You think?
I do think, in fact, we know that later on that we're going to find that the singular came back and said, if you really need something from us, you have to mark these records as exigent. Exigent meaning that somebody's life is in jeopardy. So whatever they got in the 3rd was not from Singular Wireless.
All right. Then we got another search warrant issued for the 7th to obtain Stephen Avery's computer from his resident. Another issued warrant on the 7th. Avery also has for the whole compound, Blue Pole Building. So that's the main shop. And then also search warrant for Stephen Avery. Another search warrant for Dolores Avery. Then we have Alan Avery, Earl Avery, Barbara, Charles, Brian, Bobby. Now these are all issued on the 7th, but they're not all taken into custody until 2 days later. So the warrants they issued initially, they didn't actually get to serve.
All of these signed, I might add, by Jerome L. Fox, who is tied to some of our Denny suspects in this case, specifically Scott Taddock. Jerome Fox represented Scott Taddock's brother, William Taddock, in a personal injury suit Scott Todick was also represented by Mark Rohrer, of course. Mark Rohrer, of course, at that time was a partner of Jerome Fox's law firm, Fox, Stengel, and Winter, or Winter, Stengel, and Fox. So of course it's interesting that Jerome Fox had such a significant role at this stage of the investigation in these search warrants, and later presiding over Brendan Dassey's trial, considering that he has close ties to some of our Denny suspects, and also Jerome Fox was Lori Avery's lawyer during their very bitter dispute that occurred while Avery was in prison. The bitter dispute that resulted in various letters back and forth of threats, both between Lori and Avery. Jerome Fox, it's actually listed somewhere in the documents, Jerry Fox, quote unquote, is listed as Lori's lawyer during this time period.
So does that actually, to me, that almost seems like that seems to me like that would be another reason why he may have some ill will towards Stephen if he was part of that case. Maybe, and we've all heard or seen some of the letters that he wrote. Maybe that stuff maybe it irritated Jerome Fox a little bit.
I don't know why you would let somebody who was involved in a bitter custody, bitter divorce hearing, rather. I mean, why you would let somebody in a, who was involved in a hearing like that then preside over, especially somebody who was involved at the opposite side of the person in question, that would then be that same lawyer who, was representing the party opposite to the person in question, why that same lawyer would be, presiding over the trial of, that person's co-defendant, or presiding all of the search warrants, signing all of the search warrants concerning that person in question.
More of the same with the conflict of interest, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but that I think is important, is that Jerry Fox, as he's referred to in that document, was Lori Dassey's or Lori Avery's attorney at the time of the divorce hearing. Of course, we see Patrick Willis signing some of these search warrants as well. Patrick Willis, who, when Rohrer, working for Fox's law firm, was representing Scott Todick in that 1997 assault hearing, Patrick Willis was overhearing. He was presided over that whole case. Yeah.
All right. This is them getting the cabinet bookcase, paperback books, the handset and power cord for the telephone that was on his desk. Bill Tyson. All right. Interesting when it gets to Wiegert's. No, this is also road 10:18 a.m. But this is way after, even before they even get Brendan. This is after they're hitting phone calls.
Hey, Thomas, a question was just asked. Did they not have enough judges in the county to put anybody else on this court case? I don't know if you know this or not, but
well, that's a good question, actually, because I have looked at some of the various suspects in this case. Of course, Wisconsin has public court records, so you can punch in anybody's name and see their court history. And you do get it is a relatively small area, so you will see Willis and Fox and people like that, over and over again. But it's not like those two are the only judges, in the case, in the vicinity. So, it is. I would think that you would want to judge other than somebody who had been involved in the divorce proceedings for this person. You would want to judge other than that for to be signing the search warrants to do with a criminal investigation of that same individual.
Yeah, that was exactly their statement. It was Kimberly Allen. She said, not understanding why this guy was allowed to preside over this case.
one more instance of that, isn't it?
Like they specifically leave out officers' names. Why don't they talk about what happened on November 3rd?
They don't have to. They're not gonna.
They don't mention James Link being present.
James Link, who has an interesting background himself as being, he was originally trained as a sniper in the Detroit PD.
And you see what they state here? Who found the key?
Kucharski.
That's not true. Kucharski
that's not true.
James Link found the key.
I didn't have to look.
So
I didn't even have to look.
Falsification.
They're purposely leaving.
They're leaving because Link and Coburn were only helping Kucharski as Kucharski was sitting his fat ass on Stephen Avery's bed. Right?
Here. During preliminary hearing held on Tuesday, December 6th, defense counsel for Stephen Avery requested that Deputy Kucharski render an opinion concerning the location for which the key had fallen. Kucharski opened. The key must have come from within the bookcase, so the area is close to it resulted the cabinet and its contents because physically moved. The state believes that seizing the cabinet at this time will allow investigators to determine whether the key had been hidden. See? This expires. It's permanent.
Wow.
See what he wrote? Ken Kratz. Thomas Fassbender displayed an idea with Scott's Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation being first solely Dune states. November 15th. Now, when was Fassbender there? Why is he only being sworn in 4 days after they left the property? 3 days after. It was November 12th, the last day they were there.
Wow. And Kimberly is saying, actually at trial, Coburn said that he shook the bookcase and the key fell out. But, that's the thing is that the document, it's falsifying it. It's saying that Kucharski.
Why does Coburn write an email stating that the key, what happened did not happen? He contradicts himself again.
Yeah.
Right after Making a Murder came out, he wrote the district attorney for Manitowoc, telling him to look at it and explaining. I have the email. I did a video on it a while back.
Yeah, let me pull that up myself. Yeah, I have that email. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting too that that Colburn says in the deposition that he was stationed overseas at the time of the 85 assault, but then in the email he says he was stationed in the United States. I don't know why that was, but
now we all know when Karen Hallbach calls and reports her daughter missing, it's not 5 p.m. It's 2:37 p.m. The call is time stamped, and she clearly says it's a dark green RAV4. And the dispatcher thinks she says red Ford. But why are they lying in these documents? And why aren't they listing the
it's a lot easier for Weaver to explain.
They're listing a plate number for a car that wasn't even found on it. Still, though, that's here nor there.
It's much more typical to associate the VIN rather than the plate number, right?
Officers received information from volunteer searchers that they had located a vehicle matching the description of the vehicle owned by Teresa Hallbach at Avery Salvage, located on Avery Road. Law enforcement was provided with partial VIN number. Bullshit. They had the whole fucking number. So why are they lying there?
Right. Yeah, they had Remacher lying on the stand there about that.
Yep. On November 5th, search warrant was obtained and executed at auto salvage, which included residents, all buildings, vehicles, and property. During the execution of the search warrant, Teresa Hall Box 1999 RAV4, VIN number, blah, 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 blah. Notice they say 1999. The vehicle was subsequently seized, secured in a closed trailer, transported to the Wisconsin Crime Laboratory. A subsequent search analysis on November 6th. Preliminary report was received from Wisconsin State Crime Lab indicating a presumptive positive finding of human blood located within the interior of Teresa Hallbach's vehicle. Stephen Harrington of the State of Wisconsin Crime Laboratory confirmed the technicians did locate presumptive human blood in the rear cargo portion of the vehicle, as well as the ignition area of the vehicle. Why aren't they bringing up the fact they also found blood on the rear tailgate of the vehicle?
One of the reasons I think is because that blood, even if you look at the photos, that blood didn't appear to be there until, I mean, you look at the photos taken when the vehicle was seized on November 5th, I believe it would have been. The photos don't even show the blood there, and then you see the blood later appear there magically in the crime lab, and then that blood doesn't fit Stephen Avery, so it just, it's just a total mystery there. Why that blood would just appear there. Indicates, definitely indicates that, somebody was messing around with the evidence there.
And why is it all the DNA evidence they found in Stephen Avery's trail belonged to Stephen Avery? Nobody else.
The immaculate cleaned trailer, in Wendy Baldwin's words, when she gave that anonymous interview to Fox, and then you see the pictures of the trailer. She gave that interview before the photos and videos and stuff of the trailer were available. Of course, we know that there was dust everywhere and everything.
No DNA or blood, huh?
Yeah,
like here, they stated again. Deputy Dan Kucharski is the one that searched the bedroom. They found it. Now, when did they find the key again? Refresh my memory.
November
8th. Yeah.
What is it? Would you read this? What does it say?
It's kind of small.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see.
Complainant is informed that on the November 8th, 2005, while continuing to execute the search warrant of the Avery Auto salvage, or complainant is informed, as Millbilly is highlighting there, complainant is informed that on November 7th, 2005, Deputy Dan Kucharski continued the search of the defendant's bedroom located at 12932 Avery Road, town of Gibson, Manawak County, Wisconsin. Deputy Kucharski located a Toyota ignition key a day early, adjacent to furniture found within the bedroom of the defendant, Stephen Avery. So he's saying that he found the key 24 hours before it was actually officially found.
Wow.
Wow was right.
That's crazy. I wasn't aware of that.
We just go on. There's so many discrepancies in these search warrant documents. These are
hot mess.
Mind-boggling.
I didn't even realize that until you had I was reading that, and then I was like, "Oh crap!"
Let's see. The complaint believes that this complaint to be true and correct. So everything they just stated, and Ken Kratz signed off on it.
World according to Ken Kratz.
Now we have the photo of. Now where we find the key. These slippers are not where they are right now, right?
Nope.
This was staged, right? Didn't they even admit it was staged?
Yeah, it all was.
It had to be.
Definitely staged. I never heard anybody explain to me, give an explanation that sounded halfway credible, and I've talked to Gilters about this. I've literally
and I think they did the same thing with the plates too.
I've asked the Gilters, like the top Gilters, I've asked them, like, how do you explain how the fact that the coins didn't move, nothing moved, the receipt didn't move, between the two photos before and after of the key in the bookcase, and I haven't heard one explanation that is close to substantial.
So when you say that the top Gilters, so the Gilters have like a hierarchy Do they
Well, you know,
there's like the number one guilter, the number two
the
guilter?
big ones, the ones that are, the ones that are at the top of these Facebook groups and the Reddit groups and stuff, the ones that, the little kingpins and stuff that they all, that they all upvote.
What are their names? You know their names?
Super Pickles, the one of them, she's the one that somehow got the arrest record for that dude that, Kevin Romlo, that, she somehow found his arrest record. He was the guy that saw the car on the turnaround that came to Zellner about it. He wasn't the only one who said that, though. That he was the last one coming in saying it. There were
Jill
other people saying
Stein,
it.
Irvin Konecki.
Enough to save them text messages he sent Scott Tadich.
Right. Yeah. That's the guy.
Everything he said.
Yeah, and Super Pickle, one of the moderators over at the Gilter forum there. She somehow had a Manawoc Sheriff's Office alleged arrest record for Kevin Romlo. But when I looked at, that supposedly purportedly showed that Kevin Romlo had been arrested for drunk driving by Colburn. But when I looked up, court records in Wisconsin are public, there's no arrest record for that. I couldn't find any arrest record for that. So either that's been expunged somehow, or somehow that was fraudulent.
Again, stating it's a dark blue.
Hey, Millbilly, somebody's actually, Be Happy's asking, in one of the calls, Ma Avery brings up his slippers and wish she could remember which call, but it had to do with where she saw them one day. Did Ma Avery see them in a different room, maybe?
I don't know, but that's over 1,300 calls to go through, so.
I know, but you're Millipedia, so you should know this on demand.
No. I'm not.
Yes.
It's just get to the part where Deering and Factbender contradict their stories. It's a lot of fucking documents. There's just one PDF. It's all the search warrants. Search warrant served in Marinette. Look at it like this. It's a Manitowoc paper. They scratched out Manitowoc and write Calumet. How is this legal? Like here again, they cross out Manitowoc, write Marinette, cross out Marinette, and then they write Calumet. How is this fucking?
Wow, it's just right there in front of it. It's arrogant. It's just arrogant.
They're doing whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Typically on legal documents, anytime you cross anything out, you should initial you should put your initials of the person who's crossing out any information. I know that.
But don't they have to be notarized as well or witnessed?
I don't know about that. I don't.
Legal documents. Yeah, legal documents usually are either notarized or signed by a judge.
Right.
You got Jerry Pagels submitting everything, Ken Kratz signing off on it. Not a judge, special prosecutor. And this is a search warrant to obtain Stephen Avery's digital camera. And then return to the officer. Everything's pretty much documented. And
Millbillies, some of those that have important things like what you're calling out, you should leave up there for a little bit so people can see them.
All right. I'm going to put a link to this file in the description of the video when this is done. So everybody else can go through this as much as they want. I mean, there's numerous instances where I bring things up from people that have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about. Whether it would be audio, reports.
Yeah, I noticed that happens a lot. Like myself, I've heard a few of the calls, but I haven't been able to listen to any significant amount of them.
Well, there's over 19,037 audio files for Calumet County Dispatch and all. That's all the fire channels, jail channels, sheriff channels, everything. And I had to listen to all of it to screen through what I thought was important. And from what I did a pretty good damn job, because I've gone through it multiple times after that, and I really haven't missed anything. Just a few things here and there.
I think
don't hurt your arm, pat yourself in the back there, Millbilly. Come on.
Yeah, I took this upon myself. Nobody asked me to do this. Everything I do is because I want to.
Right.
I
think we'd all agree that you're doing an outstanding job.
Definitely.
Looking for the truth.
Right.
And pointing out shit that don't make sense.
Well, you're going to be a while doing that. It's interesting that you could still find new material to point out. You know, it's like a never ending inconsistency. By the way, Thomas, your avatar is amazing.
All right, let's see. Well, I know. Go to the last page because that's where it gets strange. Ready for it? Why did they write 94 right here? Oh, we made a mistake. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
Oh, man. I know one person would be happy to see that.
And here's another one. Nope. See, 1994. They don't cross it out on this one.
Oh, the RAV.
Wow.
Yeah. 1994 Toyota RAV4.
That's not even close. Like, it ain't 98.
You know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It changes even more.
And the 9 isn't even by the 4, obviously, on the keyboard. So it's not accidentally hit the wrong button.
Yeah, not at all.
Especially if it's 99. Why would you be hitting any other key?
Right. I mean, you would think
1999.
Right.
Yep.
I had all the pages written down. I should have saved that piece of paper. There's definitely some strange shit going on.
Be Happy says, thinking out loud, but I think the calls about the slippers was before Jody got home.
And then, can you go back to the where it talks about it, like a page or two back, where it talks about what they took? There, it was just a small section that said, you know, they took bedding.
The return of the items.
It said they took bedding.
Oh yeah, that's the list.
From where? From Stevens or from Teresa's? What are you talking?
That's what I want to know, because right there. Oh, you were just there. Because as far as we know, they never tested Stevens' bedding for DNA, correct?
Bedding material containing fiber and other forensic evidence.
But we never see anything about, and Seven Pairs actually brought this up at one point in time, that they never tested the bedding for DNA because they knew nothing was there.
Of course, she was never in the house.
Oh, well, I mean, I think they actually took Stevens' bedroom apart, literally. They took the baseboards off. They took the paneling off the wall. They cut the rugs. They friggin' tested everything, and they found nothing.
Like, how is this?
So I don't necessarily believe that they didn't test anything. They tested everything, and they found nothing.
Yeah, stay right there, Millbilly. That
Gotcha.
notary public, my commission is I can't see it now. I've never seen a notary public just scribble it. Usually, isn't it a stamp?
Yeah, just straight crossing it out. Ken
Yeah, it's an
Krantz,
embosser.
Notary Public.
Most of the time, a notary has an embosser that
Yeah.
they crimp the paper with. So that's strange. I mean,
Jeez.
I mean, the search warrants are just mind-boggling. I mean, I gotta get to the part where, unless that's in another document. Yeah, finance from November 3rd, 5 p.m. She did not call at 5 p.m. That's a goddamn lie.
All right.
Why are they lying about what the time she's reported missing?
what's the date on that document? When was that document generated?
The 5th,
That's crazy.
the same day they find the car.
That's crazy.
99 Toyota RAV4, dark blue in color. She reported a 99 dark green RAV Toyota.
And we
Call it.
knew it was dark green because if I'm not mistaken, he told Pam Sturm to look for dark green or green.
Well,
Well, I
Pam
mean-
is definitely confused
Here you
about
go,
the car.
here you go,
I found
Jeff.
a RAV.
Look what number 1 is.
Oh yeah, there you go. The AudioVox cell phone.
Oh, my favorite thing.
The Hustler magazine.
Yeah. I mean, you find this AudioVox cell phones in the vicinity of where multiple witnesses say they saw the RAV4 parked between, the first and the third. So, and you have it in hand, and you have the numbers
Here
that
we go
you
again.
need.
Your client is informed that on November 7th, Deputy Chikarsky finds a Toyota RAV4 key. On November 7th.
Wow.
A day early.
They also find supposedly the plates on the 8th too, and then this document saying they found the key on the 7th. I mean,
they state they find the plates crumpled up in the car on the 8th in this report, affidavit, legal court document. Like I pointed out during the live with Travis, why are they lying about the color of the car in the search warrant? Is it because when they go there and it's green, when her mom says it's green, and they go there and they find the blue one?
That's way more convenient, right? I mean, if right, everybody's seen the color of the car because they found it on the Avery salvage yard, or they found some car in the Avery salvage yard, and it was clearly blue. So it's much easier for Uyghur to say it's blue at this point, and morph the color, and nobody's going to notice. And if somebody does say something, oh well, this is just one of these accidents, like Travis said. They just go back and correct it. In Wisconsin, are they trying to deceive the public, or is this just some clerical error? And in Wisconsin, it always ends up being some clerical error.
They just change reality. I mean, everybody, including Karen, who was her mother, who lived within sight of her, who would have seen this vehicle nearly every day, if not every day. She said that it was dark green, everybody
Yeah, but
outside of Steven
when
Schmitz and other people.
people fail to realize when they say that Teresa Halbach lives next door, it's not literally next door. It's quite the ways down the road. It's the next property next to their house, but it's not literally like next door. You can't even see her house from their property.
Oh, okay. It's not within sight. Yeah, I had heard that was
because
within
there's a
sight.
big field in between, and not to mention all the trees.
But regardless,
Okay, but-
Teresa Halbach's mom had seen her car many, many, many times.
She had
to
driven.
think that it was green.
It's hard to believe that she wasn't in that car. You know what I mean? Teresa was actually very proud that was her first car she bought by herself with her own money.
Right.
It's very hard to believe that Karen Halbach wasn't in that car at some point driving with Teresa. She had it for quite a long time, on the order of a year, if I recollect correctly. It's just impossible for me to believe that she did not know what color that car was. And if it was, this mystic magical paint that changes color, if her daughter's life depended on it, she would have said, well, it's sometimes some lights it looks green and some lights it looks dark blue.
She
would have said something.
Green. She says dark green.
Yeah, dark green. Yeah, and within, that is an important distinction though, because I've previously read on other occasions that Karen and the rest of the Halbach family lived within sight of Teresa. If that's not in fact true, then that is in fact an important distinction to make. But yeah, I mean, Karen and everybody else, pretty much they put it on the witness poster, dark green, which would imply that was the description that was represented by, not only Teresa's family, but all of her friends. So, that is an important distinction to make, that prior to November 5th and the discovery by Pam Sturm, that it was described as dark green.
Let's put it another way, Tom. What is the probability that they're going to get that wrong?
That everyone's going to get that wrong besides Steven Schmitz. Yeah.
Exactly. What's the probability? The probability is next to zero, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, to play devil's advocate, I have seen, in the news Casso photos, there are some pictures of the RAV, or what's purported to be the RAV, where it does appear to be more closer to what you would describe as dark green. I don't know, if we could pull those photos up. I don't know exactly. But
photos.
What would be the explanation for her blood in the RAV? If just as a question.
Why are they ignoring the other blood in the RAV? The RAV, in the quarry.
A23
and CX.
Well, Andrew, to answer your question, if they have it, if they have some car, if they have some vehicle, we don't know, and they have her body, we don't know what they have time to do.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. I haven't come to a complete conclusion in my mind about the one RAV or two RAV situation. I've just kind of been collecting everybody's thoughts on it. I have seen.
My thoughts are very simple, right? I have an adult child. My oldest daughter is 19 years old. I leave for work, not obviously not with coronavirus. We're staying at home, but Millbilly will attest to the fact that I get up at 4:45. I leave for work, sometimes between 5:15 and 5:30. It gives me some sense of security that when I leave the house, one of the first things I do when I, get up in the morning and I'm walking towards the outdoor is as I look out the front window and I see my oldest daughter's car parked there. And
right.
Her car is strangely dark blue. That's the same as that RAV. But the probability that I would get the color of her car wrong is freaking zero. You know what I mean? I look at that car. It gives me a sense of security to look out the window and see her car there and know that she is safe and sound in my house. And I believe that no matter how old your child gets, that Teresa was 25 years old. I just don't believe that my perceptions are going to change that much over the course of 5 or 6 years from now, that I'm not going to look out the front door of my front window, see her car, and have some feeling of security that she's safe and sound. I look for it, and I'm not going to get the color of that car wrong. Sorry.
There's a couple of questions up here on the Choney 14 says photos show screws missing in the interior. What are the chances the dashboard was changed out, which caused the VIN not to show through the windshield? That one, I mean, that would have taken a long time to replace the dash.
But there's more than one place to get the VIN verified on that car.
Yes. Yeah.
But Remaker says the VIN was tampered with, right? I mean, he says it's not properly centered in the window, giving him the impression that the VIN was tampered with. He says that in trial. Remaker says it.
Yeah, he did.
Remaker's the first one on the property. If you recall, the morning of the 5th, Uyghur talks to Remaker, and they're talking about her events of that day, and they don't know which place she was to last. They're thinking it may have been Zippers. He says, okay, I'll be here till 4 p.m. Gets off the phone. Then he gets a phone call. Oh, change of plans. Boss wants us to do something.
Right. And I believe that, in fact,
Remaker's already en route.
I believe Remaker, in fact, was in a cousin of Kasurik. But in any case, I think I'm gonna get off. I'm kind of almost I'm falling asleep, So later Melbilly, later Jeff and Jamie. I'll let you guys.
Hey, have a good night. Andrew took off already.
Tom, what a pleasure! What a pleasure it was to talk with you.
Pleasure to be on with all you guys. Honored to be on your channel, Melbilly.
Well, thank you.
Sorry,
we can do it again.
Sorry, I'm sleep deprived and everything, probably ruining it. But
It's all good.
Hey, we all got lives to live.
I'll see you all guys later.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for viewing this. I think it's getting kind of late. Not
it's
for
like
me.
11:13.
So
late.
Melbilly's on Australia time for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah. Or vampire time.
I got up early today. I woke up at 3. Went to sleep at 9 in the morning.
3 a.m. or 3 p.m.
3 p.m. I slept for about 6 hours. Well,
Couple quick things here. Choney 14 said also the windshield may have been broken and changed out and not installed properly. Not sure on that one. I've heard that theory too, though.
Well, why do all the windows but the passenger one have etching in it? Why is the carpet in the back untucked? Why are there missing parts to the interior of her car? Why is there no DNA other than the cherry Pepsi can of hers in that car?
That's something actually that you bring up that's pretty interesting when you say there's missing parts to the car, because yes, we've seen a couple of things that they've taken off, like remove this. I myself have not seen any photos of the seat when it was taken out of the car, the passenger side seat. Have you?
No, just remove the fabric.
Just the empty spot where that was. There's no other pictures of that passenger side seat that I've seen.
There's very few pictures of that passenger side car of the car at all, unless it's got debris up again or it's inside that box.
You might have to ask Silkman, but I thought they did get a full DNA profile from the blood that was in the cargo area of Teresa. Well, they got a full profile. Let's put it that way.
Well, I also know use the cherry Pepsi can too for DNA too.
Yeah.
So that could easily have been taken from her house and planted in the car. Like I said,
what if the real murderer actually liked cherry Pepsi? Could have been his.
Right.
Well, Steven drank Mountain Dew.
I think that to me is, why isn't there a mix of DNA there, right? Because if if it was this brutal assault, and supposedly if Stephen did, cut his finger in the process of this assault, which they say is quite prevalent in assaults when knives are made, because when you get blood all over knives, you try and do a stabbing motion, you end up slipping and cutting yourself. We know that Stephen cut himself as he tried to take the trailer off of Bob's van. But that being said, if he did indeed cut him, if the guilt of theory is that he cut himself during the murder, where's the DNA mix in the RAV? Well, how come his blood wasn't mixed with Teresa's blood? We know from Dr. Silkman that
Dr. Silkman just joined us.
He's
in the chat. He said yes. Blood and saliva match the Pap smear DNA obtained by Fassbender.
And the saliva was taken from the cherry Pepsi can, correct?
Yeah.
No mixing of DNAs.
None.
Where is it? So it's almost not plausible that you find this segregation of DNA. Stephen's only DNA in that strange seagull-shaped blood stain below the ignition, and Teresa's only in the back. If he cut himself, and bled as he tossed Teresa into the back seat, creating all these strange blood splatter patterns, and drove her, the whole 20 feet that it took to get from the garage to the fire pit, which is why her head rolled all around and created this large stain in the back of the RAV. Why is there no mixture? It's just not plausible. It doesn't make any sense. The whole narrative, in and of itself, is ludicrous.
I truly don't believe that if they would have actually prosecuted both of them together, I don't think that they would have been able to pull this whole narrative off. It just doesn't. It doesn't, with the way they use two different theories. I don't think they would have been able to get this by a jury.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I do too. And the jury wasn't allowed to see a lot of critical things they should have. And then the jury tampering.
Bean Green said they think that the RAV will be destroyed now, and that's. But if they go and destroy it now, they got a whole nother ball or can of worms, I guess is the way I'd say it.
I'd seen a recent tweet, and maybe it was on Reddit or maybe it was a tweeted Reddit article that said that Wisconsin law only requires you, or for example, if there was only DNA on a seat, for example, that you're only required to keep a swath of the cloth that you might find in that DNA or the plastic on which that DNA was found. I think to quote our friend Dr. Silkman, the RAV is Gonski. It really is. They're not going to let Zoellner have it. They don't want Zoellner to have it. I hope that the defense is able to really harp on sample A23. And if there's a preservation of biological evidence argument here, is that they did not do an adequate preservation of sample A23, which was a blood stain on the back of the RAV near the near the hood, near the latch, with which you open the door of the hood that swings out on the back, because it was not a hatchback, it was a hinge back that opens much like a door. A23 was a blood sample there. It was visible blood sample. From everything I'm told, if the blood sample is visible, there's certainly enough blood there to return a positive profile. But our friend Sherry Culhane, either lied about a full sample coming back, or was through her incompetence was unable to put a full DNA profile on it. Why wasn't that preserved? Or maybe it was. We're probably going to have. I cut out some cloth on the seats. I cut out some plastic on the back where Teresa's blood was. Did I preserve A23, which was this proven to be not Stephen or Brendan, but male blood sample you know, and that was very near the piece of equipment that you'd have to use to open the door to throw the body in the back. That simple. Was that preserved? I don't know. You know,
or the blood could have been the place there from them planting the RAV. They might have cut themselves on something in the yard. Never know.
Yep. Yeah. Or it could be from nobody involved because it wasn't her car at all, right? It could be from some Joe Blow.
There's been instances where I've been in the junkyard and I was just rummaging through cars as my friend was taking parts off of a car he needed, and I cut myself. I don't know on what, but next thing I looked, I had a gash in my hand and blood everywhere.
Right.
I didn't even know I was cut.
So you do bring up a good point there about, you know, them taking certain pieces that may have DNA on them. But so what about the turn signal? Who's got the turn signal? Because I want to know what fingerprints are on that turn signal.
I believe it's in a brown paper bag placed in the back of the RAV4, sealed along with the RAV4.
If they've still got the RAV4 though.
Yeah, according to the pictures that we've been given.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Wise. Lots of wise.
So Silkman he's chatting in there. He said 3 genomic DNA profiles on and in the RAV. 1 is unknown. A23 was blood. So there's still a few key pieces that were missing that might actually at least give us answers to those certain things.
Did they try to find out who that came back to? Or
No.
they just ignore it?
So Silkman and I did a video on a YouTube channel, and the state's lack of curiosity regarding A23 is just astounding. And as a matter of fact, Culhane actually tried to hide the existence of A23 in the first place. And it was Jerry Buting that actually uncovered the sort of the path of evidence that Culhane put out regarding A23. But it was found in the defense trial, by the defense in the trial. And we didn't bother to look at it further. If you have a visible blood stain, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to derive a full genomic profile from that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but that's what we've talked about in our videos, and they either didn't or wouldn't do it. Obviously, my opinion, and probably your opinion too, is that they deliberately did not do it because it was not pointing at Stephen Avery. It was ruled out to be Brendan and Stephen because some of the alleles that they found.
Silkman says that A23 is exculpatory.
Yeah,
the state's got zero interest in A23 because it doesn't play well with the shit that Kratz is spewing.
Yeah, I think it. I'd look to his expertise. I mean, Dr. Silkman does have a PhD in molecular biology. I think that the challenge at this point is that if you were to try and do it at this point in time, that you wouldn't have any luck because obviously the sample has decayed beyond what's usable in 2020. You probably would have excellent success if you had tried to do it in 2005, but
it's
not
only
2020.
15 years though, Jeff. I mean, McDonald's cheeseburgers last longer than that.
They do, and this is the average amount of time that it takes Colburn to submit a report as well. But biological evidence tends to degrade, I think. I mean, tell us if I'm wrong, Tony, but I think that's what you told me, is that if we tried to re-extract A23 right now, even if we had it right in front of us, we couldn't do it, probably because the sample has degraded. They would have had to have done it then, and they lack sufficient intellectual curiosity to do it then, which is just astounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Silkman says that Kathleen is extremely interested in A23 and CX, and that they need to re-extract the DNA from the swab.
Would it still be good? Would it still be good at this point? We're waiting on him.
Yeah, he's typing. There's a little bit of delay from when I'm reading it. He said it could be broken down or thrown out, but he says give it a go. And I
was looking for yes or no.
Well, but he is right. Even if it may be broken down, why not give it a shot and see what's there? I mean, what do you got to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, the state's lack of intellectual curiosity about a blood stain in the vicinity of the door handle is just astounding.
Mm-hmm. All right, well,
so Shaz said, I've seen on FBI files where a cold case, they took a car apart and found blood that was able to be tested. It was like 25 to 30 years.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I mean, there's always a possibility. I mean, that there's enough there that they could, you know.
It would be interesting to see whether they even attempted
point.
to preserve the biological evidence here. Right? That's the
Soapman
that seems
says,
to be the statute.
Soapman says give A23 to the guy who designed the Andy rapid DNA system, and that's a perfect point there too. And I don't think they like that guy because I think I think he could probably just wreck this case completely.
I agree.
But I hope he goes away.
They're trying to discredit him. I think, anyways, they don't want to. Even though everything he did with the California wildfires was amazing, I think they just want to discredit him all they can.
Yeah, the news is bad though, because once they start admitting that they used his tests and the FBI or some type of law enforcement acknowledged the validity of that test, that's bad news for them.
Oh, it's bad news worldwide.
For sure. Yeah. Well, it's been about an hour. Yeah. Getting late. Thank you guys for joining.
It was fun again.
Yep.
We continued the lives and on a Saturday night. So this was fun again.
Yep. Thank you.
Tony, it was good to see you.
Yeah, we got to get Soapman on again here some other time.
Yep.
Real Billy Jamie, as usual, a pleasure. Thomas, thank you. Really
Andrew.
knowledgeable. With Andrew, yep.
And be sure to check out Andrew's channel because we did a video prior to this one. Pretty good.
Check out Tony and Foul Play.
Yes, too. Check out Foul Play. They're doing great things too. Yep.
Absolutely.
See you guys later.
Take care, y'all.
What the hell? There we go.